You might have catch-up retirement investments you can make. Check that out. And because you have 2 months, space out. If you want to add, say you want to add an extra $3,000 to your retirement account between now and January, you can see how having these 2 months gives you some wiggle room there. So maybe you plot out how much per week am I going to add to that. This is all, for you to figure out.
Hey there, and welcome to Money and You. I'm Michelle Perkins, your host. My search for more fulfilling work led me to career and business coaching, where I stumbled upon a game-changing discovery. Money issues often start with our mindset and habits. You see, our relationship with money is the key to overcoming those frustrating financial obstacles. As an entrepreneur, coach, and problem solver, I'm passionate about helping you create a great relationship with money. Because, turns out, that's the foundation for a limit-free life. Each week on Money and You, I speak with amazing guests about all things money, mindset, practical tips, and everything in between. We're here to give you new insights, education, and empowerment so money can be one of your favorite relationships. So join us for some lively conversations and let's transform your financial life together.
Hello, hello, and welcome to another episode of the Money and You Show. Doing a solo show today that I'm really excited about doing because it's almost November. And with the end of the year kind of looming, there are some amazing things that you can do to empower yourself and your financial well-being before the end of the year. And I know what happens. The end of the year is busy. We've got holidays. This year we have an enormous election. And there are many things that get in our way and cause us to not think about our money between now and the end of the year. And so what happens? So at the end of the year, we start thinking about it. And we sit down and we pull our numbers together, mostly for the tax accountant. And we do all kinds of scrambling. That's not, scramble energy is not the energy that we want if we want a good relationship with our money. We don't want to be doing last minute, quick and dirty kind of attempts at figuring out how much we spent last year or how much we, made so that we can do our taxes, and without any actual time spent thinking about our money situation. Did we meet any of our goals last year? Did we, accomplish some of the things we set out to do at the beginning of 2024? Did we pay off some of our debt? Did we save a little more than we had before? Did we start investing? What are we doing? And that time that you spend thinking about your money, it's just like if you're a business owner, if you're just in the weeds, working in your business all the time, you never have a chance to step back and do any sort of visionary strategic thinking, which is all business owners should know is the key to growing your business. You can't always be in the trenches doing the work. You will never see the bigger picture, and you'll never come up with strategies for real growth or scaling or, even just the ability to take some time off and pay yourself better. So, this is necessary for everyone and in all areas. So, I would suggest this for all areas, but for today, I'm just talking about you and your money. And it's really, this is just a favorite topic of mine. I love planning. I love planners. I love everything to do with getting organized and strategically thinking about where you're going to go. I love goal setting. And then I love kind of reverse engineering it so that you can figure out, okay, how am I going to do this? And then even more than any of that, I love the mindset that you have to develop to make sure these things happen. So one of the big mindsets that you can adopt that will forever benefit you is that planning my money strategy and looking at my money before the end of the year is crucial. So this, and you can say it in a more affirmative way if you like affirmations. And let me think, how about strategically planning my finances 2 months before the end of the year will result in my financial freedom. So think of how you can look at this so that you're looking at it in a way that is positive and optimistic and also gets you in action. So We can use the affirmations. And then the way I plan this is to give you something that you can do each week. I love money dates. I love setting some time on the calendar that you and your money get together. I have a whole program on this because most people don't really know what to do when they get together with their money. So I like to lay out ideas so that it never gets boring. We don't want dating to be boring. And it never, is a waste of time. We don't like that either. And you're not spinning. You're not just sitting there in silence with your money getting agitated. Also doesn't work. So I have I have 9 ideas. 7 of them are more action ideas, and 2 of them are more mindset ideas, which I'm going to reserve for the very end of the year. So when you're in the midst of the holidays and the week before the new year, that's a good time to just adjust your mindset, develop some new mindsets, think about how you can shift some of your negative beliefs around money as you go into 2025. But for these action items, some of these will not be possible if you don't do them now. You can't, for some of the things I'm going to talk about, you can't actually wait until 2025. Because you have the opportunity now to take advantage of the time that you have. So I'm going to dive in and give you my first 7 keys to ending the year on a financial high note. And I mean it. This will really make a difference. If nothing else, you're going to feel empowered by the knowledge, because even if you can't do some of these things this year, most of these will be available to you every year. So again, I want you to remember how important knowledge is to you feeling empowered. And that's really, a whole purpose of the Money and You show, is to help you to learn in many, many areas of money. That doesn't mean you have to be an expert in those areas. A lot of the guests I bring on are doing a variety of different, they're experts in different areas. And I bring them on so you have an awareness. And each one of those has spent a lot of time becoming an expert in a specific lane. That doesn't mean you have to know everything. You don't need to know everything about real estate investing and everything about technical stock trading and everything, that would be too much, obviously. And what happens with some people is that they think they need to know so much more than they do to get rolling. And so what I want is for you to have an awareness, just like when you're in college. You take a philosophy class and you pull out a few takeaways from that class that you probably think about for the rest of your life, but you don't become a philosopher. That's not your full-time job unless it is. So, just like in school, I want all of this financial education to be something that you get excited about and that you pull a few key, pieces from. And then if you really love that, or you think you want to learn more, then you at least have the awareness that that exists and that you're interested in it. That's huge. Once you're interested in something, you can go learn more about it. But awareness, in my opinion, is everything. And so hopefully the Money and You show is helping you develop awareness and more education. And that education makes you feel like you know what you're doing, makes you feel more confident. And you can use it. Hopefully you're using some of these tips, right? The ones that are applicable to you and that you care about, that you feel good about, those are the things that you want to use. So I'm going to give you some usable keys here to ending the year. And what I would say is this: November 1st, coming right up, I would do this each week. So I'm looking at this as if we have about 8 or 9 weeks of the year left. Didn't actually calculate that, but if you start this week, it'll probably be 9. So let me give you something that you can put on your calendar. You can make a decision to do. And, the coaches out there all will tell you, including me, if it's not on the calendar, it doesn't happen. So it's really important to decide what you're going to do, put it on your calendar. But the other thing I see, even with myself, is that sometimes it's on the calendar and we still don't do it. We see it on there, especially if it's a repetitive thing. Sometimes it just becomes background and we don't notice it anymore. We know it's there, but we don't really think about it. So put it on the calendar, decide to do it, and then find something that will propel you to actually carrying this out. What is it? What could it be? How about an accountability buddy? Somebody that you tell you're going to do this. You tell them that you're going to do this action and make them check in with you and hold you accountable and ask you, so did you do it? Did you finish it? And sometimes just knowing that somebody is going to be asking you that question will get you to act. And so if it's an accountability buddy, maybe you have your own sense of accountability and you're really good at that, and you just need to reward yourself. So after I get this task done that's on my calendar regarding money, I can go and get my nails done or whatever it is. So figure that out. Figure out not only where to put it on the calendar, but how you're going to make sure that you do what's on your calendar. All right, let's dive in. So the first one that I have, a lot of these are tax related. And, as mind-boggling as our taxes can be, it's super important to factor taxes in to our financial life and our financial well-being, and not just show up at the tax accountant and, throw a bunch of stuff at them and end up being completely surprised by what they tell you. Nobody wants that. So first one, can you maximize your retirement contributions? So as you know what you've been doing. You've either been paying into retirement or not. If you haven't been, now is a good time to see if you can do some catch up. If you have been and you want to throw a little more into a 401k, an IRA, a SEP IRA, that's for fully employed people, the contributions that you make will lower your taxes, depending on, how much will depend on what you're doing. And it will obviously, when you're putting money into something that is lowering your taxes and going essentially into savings for yourself, that's a pretty good win-win. So that's a good play. A lot of people say, oh, well, I've got to start spending money before the end of the year. Well, how about spending it on yourself? So think about that first. And then if you exceed the limit, you take another, you can do something else with that money. So you might have catch-up retirement investments you can make. Check that out. And because you have 2 months, space out. If you want to add, say you want to add an extra $3,000 to your retirement account between now and January, you can see how having these 2 months gives you some wiggle room there. So maybe you plot out how much per week am I going to add to that. This is all, for you to figure out. So that's the first one that I really love. The second key, which you can do along with this one, that might be a good idea, is to consider a Roth IRA conversion. So if you expect to be in a higher tax bracket in retirement, you might want to convert some of your traditional IRA money into a Roth IRA, which with the Roth, you'll pay taxes on it now, but the beauty is that you won't pay them later. And I used to not care about that so much until I watched my elderly parents paying an awful lot of tax. And I was just shocked that, when you haven't worked in a long time and you're on a fixed income and, you've got so much to pay in taxes. That was surprising to me. So that's the beauty of the Roth IRA, is you avoid that later down the road. So either discuss this with your financial planner or, gain more of an understanding, but think about that as well. Great thing to think about at this time of the year. So for another week, I would say review your health savings account. That's your HSA account, and see if there are contributions you can make to that. If you haven't maxed it out, that's a great place to put money. I had a guest on, I wish I could remember his name at this moment. He was an oh gosh, I liked him. He was from Minnesota. I had him on twice. Whew. I'll put the show notes in the episode in the show notes, because that was a great discussion about HSAs, and he found them to be like the best investment ever. And so, it has sort of a triple tax effect that's really beneficial. So if you can take advantage of putting money into your HSA, there's tax-free growth, there are tax-deductible contributions, and tax-free withdrawals. So that's kind of the triple effect of that. That is a great place to put money. Okay, And if you've been saying for so long that you would set up your HSA and didn't, I will tell you a rather sad but funny story is I'd been saying I would do this for years. My health insurance actually had like an HSA benefit component to it. And so year after year, I was like, I need to set up the HSA. And I had that gentleman on my podcast and I got inspired. And then I went to go set it up. And they were like, oops, too late. Like I'm getting to be Medicare age. And then it was a non-starter. So didn't expect that, didn't know that, was kind of bummed. So do it early, do it when you're young. It's a great investment. All right. So maximize any charitable contributions. So now is a great time. Everybody's hitting you up. I know that for a fact. And you can, find the charities or the philanthropic organizations that you most want to give to and give and donate goods as well. Now's a good time to donate some old clothes or some old appliances or furniture, because that will all be nice deductions for your taxes. Okay. So something to think about. And again, if you wait too long, you don't do it. If you wait too long thinking, oh, I'll clean up my closets over, the holiday break, well, maybe you will, maybe you won't. So just do all this now. So you have the paperwork and it's all done and you don't have to think about it in January. Here's the little point about waiting till January. If you don't take care of these things in this year, some of which you have to take care of in this year in order to do them, then guess what? The first 2 months of the new year are spent organizing things, looking at things, doing all the stuff that you could do right now. So you've already lost 2 months of financial, planning and moving forward in the new year. So I don't like that. It's like planning your business starting in the new year too. You sort of gather all the information about what happened and you review it and you analyze it and you sit and think up, whatever you want, new goals for your business and how to make that happen. It's already March by the time you're implementing anything, if you're lucky. So don't wait. Okay. Another week let's see, I think we've got, if we combine the retirement contributions and the Roth IRA into 1 week, and then we have our health savings account, that we're focused on in another week, and charitable contributions in a 3rd week, then let's move on to looking at our withholding and estimated payments. That's another good one too, and you might need to involve your accountant on this one. But, look and see where you're at. Would it be beneficial to make an extra estimated payment before the year ends? Do you want to change some of your, your withholding, things like that? So good thing to take a look at right now. And then use up your flexible spending account. So that's another flexible spending account sometimes do not carry over and you need to use them. So what do you need? And again, this is, I don't know if you've noticed, but it's hard to get a doctor's appointment these days. So if you want to go and do something so that you can spend your flexible spending account money, you better get that on the calendar now and make those appointments, because if you call at the beginning of December, the chances are you may not get in with your doctor to do that. So that's an important one too. And the other one that's a little more technical is what they call tax loss harvesting. So if you've been a big investor this year and maybe made a lot of money, you might want to offset some of those gains that you're going to have to pay taxes on by selling off some underperforming stocks and maybe have some losses that offset that. So that gets a little technical, but something to think about, maybe something to ask your financial planner or advisor about. You probably even have friends that can help you with that one. So just think about it. If you're really going to be in a serious situation tax-wise, that might be something you want to do. So something to look at, and in looking at it, it kind of ties into another one that I'm going to bring up that's a little less tax oriented and a little more just something that you should do every year anyway, and you might as well do it now at the before the end of this year. So I'll dive into that one. That one is reviewing and rebalancing your investment portfolio. So this you want to do at least once a year anyway. Really, I think you probably want to take a look at it, maybe even quarterly, definitely a couple times a year. Because your portfolio you set up and it's working for you for a while, and then it will always need to be reviewed and what they call rebalanced. So moving money from one fund to another fund that's performing better, or this is where I frankly lean on my financial advisor, and we get together and talk about how to rebalance it. I don't do that on my own because I don't spend enough time looking at what my investments are doing and having as much of an understanding as he does. So that's what I do, but I know a lot of people who will do their own as well. So, okay, rebalancing and reviewing your portfolio. Very important. You want to know how it went this year. You want to know what's up, what's down, and come up with a strategy again for resetting everything for the year ahead. Okay, and then this one I love. I think we're at about, we might be at 8. You might need to combine a couple of these to fit them in before the end of the year. But the one that I probably care about the most is to conduct a financial year-end checkup. Do a money tune-up. Go in there and check what happened this year. What were my goals? What did I do? Where are my savings? Where's my debt? Did I make progress paying things down the way I wanted? Did I make progress saving for that house that I've been saying I would save for? My retirement, my emergency fund, did I do it? Did I maybe I've got all the emergency fund that I need. So now I need to think, well, okay, I need to keep saving, but instead of it going to the emergency fund, it can go to a different fund. So look at all the ways that your money is being spent, the way it's being allocated, and your earnings. Look at everything together. Look at your, what you've made so far this year, and figure out sort of, your personal P&L, where what you made less what you spent. Where are you? And what happened to it? Give it some thought. This is what we don't do. We don't actually sit and spend much time thinking, where did it go? Maybe there were some big expenditures. And that's fine, but maybe they're not recurring expenditures. Maybe they're things you did this year, and maybe they won't be happening next year, which allows you to take some of that excess money and put it somewhere else. So do a full financial tune-up. And for a lot of people, that really means looking at their spending. Where did it all go this year? Okay. Very important to know. You really can't go into the future without knowing that. That's where we talk about money dating and getting to know your money. If you don't know where your money is, how much there is, what it's been spent on, how you've earned it, you almost can't get started with anything else. That is foundational. Okay, and then the last one is think about 2025. Are there going to be some big expenditures then? I mean, do you have a plan to buy a new car, to buy a new house, to start a business? What's going on next year? Will there be a need for some high ticket items or some big investments? And give some strategic thought to how are you going to fund that? Maybe you've already got it. Maybe that doesn't take but 2 minutes to recognize how you're going to get that. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're not sure you want to start a business and you need a little bit of investment capital for that business, and you don't have any idea where it's going to come from. Okay, good time to start looking. Maybe you can get a loan. Maybe you can get an SBA loan or a different kind of loan. Maybe you're going to borrow from family and friends. But give it thought. You don't want to be on the path of wanting to start this new business in January, but you've never thought about where the funding is going to come from. You can do that now. All right, so those are the weekly things that you can do between now and year end. I would say as soon as you can, do this for a money date. Sit down with these ideas. Maybe you have some of your own ideas. Maybe you know of some things already that you need to do. Plot it out on the calendar, a couple of ideas, 1 to 2 ideas a week, no more than that, or you'll just overwhelm yourself and give up. So 1 to 2 ideas per week. And in the last 2 weeks of this year. That's where all of this has been taken care of already. And those last 2 weeks are considered mindset weeks. Really think about, what are you saying to yourself about money in this year? What are you saying about next year? What are your hopes? And what self-talk happens when you think, oh, this year I hope it's X, Y, and Z. And then what does that little angry voice on your shoulder say to you about you, and how either, well or badly you're going to do achieving those goals? If they're telling you, oh, forget it, you've never had a year that good, and look what happened this year, so just don't even, what are you thinking? If that's what you're hearing in your own head, it's really important for you to really sit and come up with some better thoughts than that. I mean, you create your thoughts, you can do this. You can come up with, and sometimes the key is looking back on times where you did some things really well, or where you had to be really strong, or where you had to cope with something difficult and you did. So go back in time in your mind and remember that you can do this, and you've done hard things before. You can do this, and try to do whatever, you can listen to a lot of podcasts of mine on mindset to reset that mindset to be not only positive, but acting as if this is happening now. The abundance is coming to you now, whether there's evidence of that right now or not. So we could talk all day about that, but I want to leave you with these practical tips. And then I would love for you to go back to other Money and You shows and find, gosh, so many mindset lessons, Deborah Darris and Susanna Kennedy, and some really great guests who have talked really specifically about mindset. Okay, well, that's a lot. And I'm really, really hoping that you will take this on, because at the end of the year, you will feel empowered if you do this. You will feel smarter, you'll feel more confident, you'll be empowered, and you will be ready to go in 2025 with new goals and a new sense of, I can do this and I will do this. And it's really all part of the sense of financial well-being that you want to have, where money doesn't stress you out and doesn't freak you out, and just allows you to live more of the life that you want to live. So with that, I'm going to close, and I'm going to offer you a free 15-minute just call with me to just pick my brain. If you're doing these things and you get stuck, or maybe you're not even doing them and you want to, give me a call. You can go to limitfreelife.com and schedule a quick strategy session with me. And that will not be to sell you into anything, I promise. That will just be to answer some questions, pick my brain, ask me, tell me what's stopping you, where your obstacles are, or tell me if you don't understand something that, you should be doing. And let's just get to the bottom of it so you can get back to that calendar and do the stuff. All right. So thank you so much. If you like the show, if you think anybody could benefit from this, please share it. And I look forward to seeing you on the next Money and You episode.